this way. Okay. So we talked about rise over run being our slope, and we went to this picture. When we have a horizontal line, the slope is 0 because if your cars are neutral, you don't go anywhere. And let's see what I want to say. Numerically, in numbers, this looks like zeros over some number. So zeros in the numerator. What that means is what do we multiply a number by to get 0 into 0? But when we have a vertical road in this case, or a vertical line, we can't drive it, the slope's undefined. And when zeros in the denominator of a fraction is what it looks like numerically. You can't divide by 0. Over here we've got a line that's going up, so it's positive slope. This is a line going down, so it's negative slope. Alright, so one of the things that you're going to have to do, and you're going to do that in a minute on your foldable, is we have to be able to look at a line and calculate the slope. So this is a point on the line, and this is a point on the line. You can either choose to start here and move towards this point, or here and move that way. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to do my rise first. Now you can do this on your paper if you want, rather than the foldable. Then we're going to go down 1. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that if you rise up, it's a positive rise. If you go down, it's a negative rise. If you go to the right, that's a positive run. If you go to the left, that's a negative run. So we just rose a -1. Now to get to this point, I'm going to have to go 1, 2, 3 units and go to the right, which means that's going to be a positive 3. So the slope of that line is going to be a -1/3.
So you put 2 points on this line?
Yeah, so when you're going to look for where the line crosses, intersection of 2 other lines here. So if we look at this one, I'm going to start here now. And if I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, and I went up, so my rise is 4. And now I'm going to go to the right 1 because it's a positive 1. That means it'll be a positive run or 4. So now we're going to work with this point. Actually, Trevor is at this point. Trevor, do you want to start high or start low? Start low. Okay, we're going to start low. So what is your rise then if you're starting low to get up to the higher point? 2. Positive or negative? Positive. Okay, and what will your run look like? Negative. Why negative? Because you're going up. So I want these in reduced form. Trevor, you were Carnegie, weren't you? Yeah. Yeah, they usually have this. We usually have this. Yes. Yeah, that's a different algebra one, so I mean, they with this. Did they? Everybody. It's just a different.
It's like a program on the computer. So what's the point of using the fly letters and letters?
Because if I give you 2 ordered pairs, you will do that. If I give you a graph, you'll do this. We need to be able to look at slope in all perspectives.
So last night we had to do this.
You use the formula. You have now, what I want you to do is on your foldable, okay, I need you with a straight edge. I need you to connect E to B. I need you to connect E to A. And I need you to connect B to A. And I need you now to calculate this slope. Oh, no. So you're going to connect these, and you're going to use this system that we just did to find the slope of those segments.
By the way, it's a difficult one.
All right. So what did you get? What did you get for ED, Bryce?
2 over 2.
ED 2 over 2, which simplifies to 1. What did you get for EA, Lucas? 8 over 4, which is 2, correct. What did you get for DA? Ricky? DA? rise.
Oh.
Rise over run, which simplifies to 3. And then BC goes to Tara. What did you get for BC?
-4/7.
Right, it is negative. Look at your lines going down, so make sure that you did that. So this is going to, this rise over run, -4/7.
Doesn't matter. Or it could be 4/7.
Rather than 4/-7, correct. Alright, so I'm just going to do one of these, alright? I think you were successful. Check last night's homework.
Wait, can we do this on our phone?
You already have done this on your foldable. Yeah, on your foldable. Look at segment AB. You should have gotten -1/2 when you simplified. Look at BC. You should have gotten 2 when you simplified. It should have been +2 because I think BC is going up. Is BC going up or
Yeah,
down?
negative 6.
Negative divided by negative is positive. BC is going down, then you multiply it. And then we've got EC. EC should have been -2/9.
Wait, what did I see? You did it all right.
EC is 2.
What did you say?
I got 6 over here. Alright, so, Wendy,
Okay, I have a question. For EC, I got 6 negative. I have 6 over -9 and that equals
6 over -9 is -2/3. So I got -2 over positive. So we'll have to look at that in a minute. Okay, what I want to make sure that you all know how to do, if you're having problems with slope, the slope formula, the expectation is that you know this. I think we're going to have a quiz on Wednesday. Quiz Wednesday. So I'm going to definitely ask you for the slope formula, and I may have you graph a line, and maybe Thursday. And I'll have you write the equation of the line.
Wait, now we're having a Thursday?
Yeah, quiz Thursday. So I'll give you more information about it tomorrow. All right.
Why do you have Y1, Y2, and then why did you change it to the actual?
Okay, just to let you know, it's the same thing. All right. If you have Y1 minus Y2, if you start with Y1, you must start with X1. If you start with Y2, you must start with X2. Because I could label this as the second point, and I could label this as the first point, where Wendy could label this as the first point, and this is the second point. But whatever order you began with, you must begin with the denominator. So if you're having difficulty with slope, then my suggestion is that you put these numbers on top of your ordered pairs. So now the slope is going to be y2, which is 6, minus y1, which is 3, over x2 minus x1. So this is going to be plus negative, or 3. This is going to be plus negative, or -6, which simplifies to -1/2.
Is 821 over 2?
No. All right. So we already did that on Friday.
Wait,
I got -1/2.
is that the problem figuring?
I got it. Oh, it's 6 times 2.
Pardon? Yes, I did not get to write any equations at all.
Is it 6? Yeah, over the thing. 3 over -6, right? So it's still -1.
Yes.
Oh, what's the
Okay, we're working there. So we've already done this on our foldable. We've already done this on our foldable. We're ready for this.
Oh, okay.
So now we're going to find the slope and y-intercept of a line written in standard form. This is the slope-intercept form of a line, which gives you slope and it gives you the intercept. So you need to be aware that your slope is found, you image your slope. The slope is always going to be the coefficient or number that is being multiplied by x. Your y-intercept is always going to be b, but I want it in ordered pair form. So it will be 0b. This is the point where the graph, if you're doing this on knuckle paper right now, graph crosses. This is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay, yes, I could say line. But what I've done for you in these notes is I've made this take you into Algebra 2. If this were a parabola, it's where the parabola crosses the y-axis.
What's a parabola?
If it were a cubic, it's where the cubic function. crosses the y-axis. If it were a square root function, it would be where the square root function. So whatever graph it is crosses the y-axis. All right, so the first skill you need is to be able to look at an equation, give me the slope, and give me the y-intercept. So on my first one that's being hidden by this, Garrett is not here. I need to know what my slope is and what my y-intercept is. Eric? On this equation up here, what's my slope? It's going to be 3 over 5. And then what is my y-intercept? Right, and we're going to write it 0, negative 5, because that's plottable. All right, again, your slope is always the one attached to the
you just tricked us.
Oh, I will always try to trick you.
It won't work.
Is the B is always the y-intercept, yes. All right, for my next one, Lizzie, what is the slope?
4 over 3.
4 over 3, what's the y-intercept?
0,
0, 8, that's the job. All right, next one. Got one more, and then they get to be more interesting. And we like interesting. Wendy, you got a minute pass. Wendy, what is this slope? What's the slope?
The slope is. Wait, no, the slope is 20.
Okay, what's your y-intercept? 0, 12. Right. So, let's see. A lot of times, this slope-intercept form of the equation I call the workhorse, because it's the useful one. It's the one that allows us to graph and graph easily. What we have down here is standard form. And standard form is about as useless as it gets, but it's attractive. Standard form is all about the beauty, right? If you look at these up here, these are not beautiful because they have fractions. But when you have standard form, there are no fractions. And so that's attractive to the eye. Not very useful, but attractive to the eye. So if I want to take this equation and I want to find its slope and y-intercept, we must get it into slope-intercept form. In other words, we've got to get y by itself. So in order to do this, we want to get y by itself. How do I disconnect my 3x? Brian, how do I get rid of 3x? We subtract it because it's being added, correct. Can I subtract 3x from 8 and get 5x? No, because they are unlocked. Alright, so the next question is, I now have 7y, I need y by itself. How do I disconnect 7 and y out, Sandra? Are they connected? Divide. Now, when you divide, I want you to divide everything individually by 7. So y is going to be 8/7 minus 3/7 x. At this point in time, you should be able to identify the slope and y-intercept. Miriam, what's my slope? Okay, and this must go with it. That's right, it's negative 3/7, all right? This has to be an addition sign when you pull it out.
Wait, that's the slope?
That's the slope because it's the one attached to x.
Wait, then why are you
Pardon?
Why?
Because I changed my subtraction to addition.
So you have to do that?
If you can pick this up as negative 3/7 before, no. But if you can't pick that up as negative 3/7, then yes. So y-intercept, Miriam, and you're going to write it in ordered pair form. Is there an X with 8? On the y-axis, we have not moved over left and right, but we'll always be on the y-axis. 8/7 is the y-intercept. Okay. So now the expectation is that we can graph a line. And you're going to, if it's not that way, you have to put the function in slope-intercept form. Then you plot the y-intercept on the y-axis. And then using the point just plotted, you're going to use the slope with rise over run and plot additional points. Now, normally I'd say one additional point is enough. I'm going to want 4 points. And the reason why I'm asking for 4 points is for our reflection piece in the next unit. Alright, you're gonna need this for the reflection. You need to do more than one point. At the end, you're gonna connect the dots. Alright, this outline of these 4 steps is online. You can copy it online. Because we went over homework today, I don't have as much time. So what we're gonna do now, Nate, I need you to come up with the first step to solve for y. This is still a well.
Like solve
This is
for
y.
y or not y?
I want y by itself. Solve for what?
Minus 2x.
We're gonna subtract 2x from both sides. So you're gonna have negative 3y is equal to 6 minus 2x. Alright, after this, I need to disconnect the negative 3 from the y. How am I going to do that? Ethan? We're going to divide every part of this by negative 3. So we're going to have y equals positive 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 3 is positive 2/3 x. Alright, this is why we needed the scale that we just put into place. What is my slope, Maria? My slope is 2/3, and what's my y-intercept? It's going to be 0, negative 2. So when you go to plot this, we're going to go to the y-axis. We're going to go down, over none, down 2. And from this point, we will rise 2 and run 3. So we're going to rise 2 and run 3. There's a new point. Rise 2 and run 3. From this y-intercept, we're going to rise 2 and run 3. Rise 2, that's where you start.
Can't you go the other way too?
Rise 2 and run 3, there's 4 points. If I rose a negative 2, to keep it positive, I'd have to run a negative 3. Negative divided by negative is positive. So I could go down to less 3.
Can we put that in the folder?
Pardon me?
Can we put that
No, not at this point. So,
That's all.
it's important that you are able to do several points, because again, we're going to need it for the reflection loop.
Is that it?
No. So the last thing is, if you have y equals with no x, this graphs into a horizontal line, not a vertical.
Oh, this making sense now.
Horizontal line. So that means you count up 7 units and you put a horizontal line. What this means is every y value on that line must be up 7 units. And it can't be anything other than 7. Okay? Notice there are no x's. If, on the other hand, you have no y, solve for x equals 6, then this is going to be a vertical line. And vertical lines are always going to be x equals some number. So when you go to graph this, you go over 6 units, and then you're going to graph a vertical line. Because now what we want is we want every single x unit on this line to be 6.
What about the horizontal line?
On the horizontal line, we wanted every single y value to be 7. It could be anything else. X minus 6, you're going to solve for x. And now this needs to go over on the x-axis 6 units, and draw a vertical line that intersects it. Alright, A21 I have not totally taught, so your homework is 1 through 4 and 7 through 15. It is graphing lines, finding slopes, that stuff.